something we've had to live with for a couple of years now, and so it's nothing new in that respect. I think it's clearly more of a political issue than it is an economic impact. I think the economic impact from this is fairly limited. But this is, going into U.S. elections where you see bipartisan support for clamping down on China, the recent passing of this ADR bill. I mean, these are, some pretty strong political messages there. And this, U.S. response to Hong Kong, again, another issue that can stick around for some time. And so, yes, it will put a bit of a dampener on Hong Kong and the Chinese market. But, alongside that, there is actually a decent recovery going on in China. And although it's going to be limited by, the kind of stress at some of its export partners, the fact that consumption is not rebounding as strongly, we still need to look at the underlying story in China, which is a little bit different to some of this political noise.
What's your outlook then for the markets? Because the rally that we're seeing at the moment, surely not based on fundamentals. Fundamentals really aren't driving the market, considering the weak data points that we are still seeing. Yes, economies are reopening, but we're going to be in this soft patch for quite some time.
Yeah, it's been a little bit surprising, I have to say. I mean, we've been, as an income fund, positioned a little bit more defensively. We have a lot of income coming up in North Asia in the next few months, in China and Taiwan. And those markets actually have done well. I mean, so, year to date, the domestic Chinese market, Taiwan, have been the strongest performers. And then on the other side of the coin, you've got the likes of India and Indonesia, which are down about 30% in US dollar terms this year. So, it's been a real divergence between North Asia and South Asia. I think that's really the key point in Asia for us, is that we think that trend continues. I mean, there's been a real struggle in South Asia in terms of controlling the virus numbers, having the right kind of response, and actually limited fiscal room to even respond. Whereas North Asia has done a far better job. It's been much greater resolve in this lockdown period, and they've just been economically and politically more stable. So, I think the earnings and dividend outlook for North Asia actually is reasonably good. But, I would be concerned about South Asia. And I think in general, markets have been a bit complacent. I mean, I think the real economy is not going to have a V-shaped recovery.
Sad, it's Hadley out in Abu Dhabi. I want to follow on to what Matt was asking a bit earlier regarding this U.S.-China rhetoric, and you're absolutely right. This is nothing new in the sense that we're seeing heightened tensions yet again between Washington and Beijing. But there's also a move, of course, in the United States to limit the ability of Chinese telecoms companies to get licenses and to invest in the United States. Do you see what the COVID-19 fallout impacting things similarly for China when it comes to Europe?
Yeah, I mean, again, this is something that China's been aware of for some time. And, if you really want to wind it back, you can think about its Made in China 2025 initiative, which is all about self-sufficiency and relying less on, the guys such as US and Europe. So I think they're well aware of this. And every year that goes by, they are investing more and more in these industries of the future. So I think it kind of suits them to prolong this. And they get stronger domestically as this goes on. I mean, this will not go away, and this is partly one of the reasons I think that China has stepped in Hong Kong, realizing that we're going to have this ongoing issue with Washington, and we just need to get on with what we think is right for us. And so, again, I think there will be this tension that continues, and at least until the elections, because don't forget the Democrats are also pretty, anti-China as well. If anything, they're probably more strongly anti-China than the Republicans. So, and with respect to Europe, again, if you look at what China did in 2019 was to redirect a lot of trade to within Asia. So the trade to ASEAN and other parts of Asia just grew at a pretty fast pace, and that offset a lot of the weakness from the US and Europe. So, it's not a new game to China. I think they can manage to a degree pretty well for the rest of this year, but, it's not something that you can keep doing.